Bobby Knight was a sheriff in a small northern New England township where he had lived for the past 45 years. Since the EMP attack had thrown most of the nation into darkness, most first responders abandoned their jobs to be home to help their families survive after the county stopped paying their salaries. Bobby had no family to speak of. He felt a certain loyalty to the residents of the small community he served for the past 4 decades. The Ford Explorer that the county provided him sat idle in his driveway. When gasoline shortages started popping up in the neighboring areas due to the EMP attack, Bobby resorted to using his personal 1947 Harley-Davidson FLH Panhead in an effort to conserve precious fuel. It was now mid-October, and the shin-length leather coat he was wearing provided little protection from the cold this morning as he rode into town toward his office. A Vietnam veteran, he served 2 tours as a Marine in country from 71 to 73. He quit school the day he turned 17 to join the Corps. Bobby had a pretty horrific time in Vietnam. He spent 2 months in a bamboo cage underwater up to his chin. The cage was not tall enough for him to stand up in completely, and at the same time, too narrow for him to sit down in, which he couldn't have done anyway because it would have placed him fully underwater. They moved him around regularly from camp to camp. On one such slog through the jungle, he seized his opportunity to escape. While crossing a river 40 feet above on a rickety rope bridge with his hands bound behind him, he launched himself over the edge and into the raging torrent below. The guards that were moving him fired several volleys at him, but never hit him. He nearly drowned, but managed to get to shore downstream. He made his way for 13 days through the jungle until a patrol of Americans picked him up near the Cambodian border. He had barely eaten in that time, and he stayed hydrated by sucking moisture off of palm leaves in the jungle and lapping water from streams and brooks. His hands tied behind him the entire time. After he was reassigned to a new unit, he later received his orders to return home. On the flight back to the States, he sat alone in silent contemplation. He quietly and solemnly thanked God for delivering him from this terrible ordeal. As he looked out the plane window into the country he would hopefully never see again, he couldn't help notice that this place that had brought him so much pain, so much misery, was actually a very beautiful country. As he prayed thanks, he promised God and himself that he would never ask for anything ever again. Every day for the rest of his life was a gift, he reasoned. Every day for the rest of his life, no matter what happened, would be a piece of cake compared to what he had just lived through. His final night in country was spent on night patrol with his unit. When he stood up to get off the plane in Dover, Delaware, he thought of how just 19 hours earlier he walked out of the jungle at dawn on the other side of the world. He reached for his rifle, but it wasn't there. He felt naked without it, and at the same time relieved that he did not need it. He was home physically, but psychologically and emotionally it would take him decades to get back. In fact, there was a part of him that would never return home. Bobby rolled the Panhead onto the side street in front of his office. As he dismounted and walked up to unlock the door, he knew deep inside that he could never abandon his job. He could never abandon his duty to the oath he swore. No matter what the world he lived in now would bring, this world of post-societal collapse, he remembered the promise he made to God on the plane ride home from the jungles of Southeast Asia. His duty and his purpose now would be to the only real family he had, to the people of his community.